Hello folks, how you getting on? Hope you're doing fine, hope you're keeping well, hope you're keeping safe. Yes, these are red eyes you're seeing. I have been crying. It's not actually related to what I'm going through at the moment. It is this newspaper article that I'm very glad that my mum brought to my attention. I know it's only back 11 in the day, so it's still quite early for a Tuesday, but what I have read here has shocked me to the pit of my stomach. And I just thought that I would take a moment to share it with you, because the story that is contained in here, and I'm just going to predicate folks, and I will do it when I post this video, trigger warning. Massive, severe trigger warning. This story is horrifying, and I'm just going to sort of... I don't mean to take away from it, but it is a pretty heavy and involved story, folks, so I'll just give you the bullet points. But it is about a young woman, and it is based on the recent review of Essex Mental Health Services, shocked the public, but writer, and it's a pseudonym, Margot Edwards, believes the failings are symptomatic of a crisis in care across the country. Well, we at No More Lost Souls completely agree with that. There's a mental health crisis across the country. This poor young woman ended up, and this is disgusting, folks, this disgusts me to the pit of my stomach. She was in a mental health crisis during COVID. And a recent report has revealed that the death of 1,500 patients while under the care of NHS mental health services in Essex between 2000 and 2020, they all died in circumstances that were unexplained, unexpected, or self-inflicted. And she says she can fully identify with most of those tragic victims, Well, so can I. It's horrifying. There's a wonderful phrase in here that they use, and I don't mean wonderful in the positive sense, I mean horrifying. There has been a worrying number of people referred to psychiatrists during the crisis, and the number of suicides has been described as the true pandemic. Well, that is a statement I will stand by, folks. Mental health has a crisis that has been unfolding for decades in this entire country. I hate the fact that this story echoes so many of the stories I've heard. And what I mean is, I don't hate that I've heard it. I'm so grateful that people are opening up and sharing their experiences, but it's disgusting. Like, we have a major, major crisis here in Caithness, and this is Essex, England, London, closest to places where they're meant to have access to support and care. And the woman was put on a series of incorrect medications that made her worse. Sorry, I do keep referring back to the paper here, folks, so I'm just going to be one eye on the camera and one eye here. The wrong medication completely altered her neurochemistry. Well, I believe that's something that I've gone through, being tentatively diagnosed as bipolar and put on a series of medications that don't treat bipolar at all. It actually drove me up the wall insane. The woman started smashing up glasses and cutting herself because the medication had altered her brain so much. She has a tentative, and this should not be acceptable, folks. You don't have a tentative diagnosis of a broken leg. They tell you it's a fucking broken leg. Excuse my language. She has a tentative diagnosis of ADHD. She was given a particular medication. I obviously won't describe medications here because I'm not a doctor, but was not warned that it would cause horrific depression and suicidal ideation. Well, that's something that so many folks have got in touch with this page have discussed about, folks, that not a single one of you have been warned about the side effects of the medications that we are expected to put onto our bodies. Failure, not acceptable. The human body is a machine. The mind is the computer of that machine, and it must be treated with the respect of a machine. We are not guinea pigs to be experimented on. And it is disgusting that human beings, souls, are being treated as less than human in the 21st century. Oh, I'm mad. I'm furious. This poor young woman pushed to crisis. Keeps getting worse. The nurses joked that top psychiatrists often turn up very late, if at all. Should we be joking about mental health? Absolutely not unprofessional. Couldn't sleep? Well, a lot of us know about that, folks. Despite letting the crisis team know I was suicidal and cripplingly depressed, they told me to persevere. I begged for an appointment with any psychiatrist to get me off the drug, but I was refused. This sounds just so familiar. They just don't care, folks. It is just a palm you off. Where does it say here? It's a tick box exercise. Yep. We're just boxes to be ticked. We're not human beings. We're just parts on a board. That's what it's like. I'm sorry if anybody out there doesn't like the way that I'm speaking about how we're treated. Well, that's the fact of the matter, folks. We're treated as less than animals. This poor human being, I'm sorry. She became hysterical over the phone. She spoke to a nurse, and they called her pathetic and stroppy, which made me feel so devoid of hope I started self-harming. How to deny someone's reality. How to break them. How to make them feel worse. This is upsetting me reading it, folks, but I'm sorry. Put this out there. Get it shared. I know there's swearing in it. I don't care. The reality of this life isn't hidden by fancy words and special platitudes. It's by the cold, brutal reality. People are killing themselves because they feel like people don't care. And this is an article about the failings in Essex over a 22-year period. Well, that's almost comparable, if not comparable, to NHS Island, Scotland. Disgraceful! The poor woman was in shock. Another nurse refused to allow me to speak to the psychiatrist and said they weren't going to deal with me anymore, despite their failures over the drugs they had prescribed. I told this nurse I could no longer face being alive. As soon as I arrived home, 2 cars of police officers tore up our drive behind me. Oh, wow, this is how we treat the mentally ill in this country. Like criminals. My car door was wrenched open and I was dragged out. A young woman. How did those big burly police officers feel treating a human being with such disdain? I have been very fortunate, folks. My experiences when I had the police called out when they thought I was going to do something silly. They were cool, calm and collected with me. And thank the old gods and the new that they were. Because this is disgraceful behaviour. And I'll keep saying it. And I'll keep raising my voice. How can we treat human beings like this? It's not right, folks. It's not right. This is NHS Britain that is clearly broken. The woman was yanked out in handcuffs and put behind my head. As someone with severe hypermobility, this could have caused my shoulders to dislocate. I was in pain for days and bruised afterwards. They were assaulted. And they were taken and detained under a 136, taking someone to a place of safety so that their mental health can be assessed. Well, if that person is in such a danger and crisis to themselves and perhaps others, is treating them like a violent criminal the way to do it? Coming in all Starsky and Hutch, all guns blazing? No! Cool, calm, collected, like professionals. What the heck do you expect when you turn up like that? Of course somebody's going to go off the planet and act in a manner unbecoming because they are in crisis. You fools! I will call you what you are. You fools! Poor woman. I was held in a psychiatric unit and waited for 2 psychiatrists and a social worker to assess me. They decided I didn't need sectioning, no, because she was in bloody crisis as a result of the torture she'd been put through. We'll call it torture. I doubt I'll ever get over the trauma of the experience. I physically shook for days afterwards, and now panic every time I hear a police siren. Well, that's further trauma. That's just piling trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. Doesn't help. We are treating the mentally ill like animals that can be herded into a pen, doped up to the eyeballs, cut off from all their emotions, and tatty bye, problem solved, you don't matter anymore. That is the attitude of the NHS, folks, and it is disgusting. Enough! While crisis teams across the country must vary, I'm sure they do, mine definitely failed me. I realise I'm not alone in being made worse rather than better by my interactions with the mental health teams. Many people in similar situations have killed themselves. Yeah, that's on their hands. You put the wrong things in the vehicle, the car doesn't work anymore. It's on the mechanics that screwed up your car. Another friend was feeling suicidal. She was simply given a Valium to calm her down. Oh, that's right, just course them. The only other help was a leaflet on distracting activities such as bread making. Oh, absolutely right. Yes, that's right. When we want to take our precious lives and want to go and make a loaf of bread, wake up! Distraction techniques and whatever, nah. That's for mental health before the mind has broken. When her family called, desperately asking for a better solution, they were told we have a plan and we're sticking to it. The bread making. Oh, you've broken your leg! Oh, that's alright, just take yourself for a 10-mile hike on a couple of paracetamol. That's not medical advice, folks, that is me just making an absolutely absurd statement on the situation. It is disgusting. It would be criminal to allow any more of these teams to cause more damage in vulnerable patients and facilitate more suicide and suffering. Well, I think that's an absolutely point to end it on, folks. That's in Essex, and I will take this opportunity. I've been very upset by this, but I'm doing it in a fresh and raw. None of this preempted, pre-practiced, pre-recorded rubbish. This is the reality, folks. It's not just happening in Caithness. It is nationwide. And this poor young woman, bless her heart for the strength to come forward to share that story. It is one of clearly many, one of hundreds, perhaps thousands, and it is the same in Caithness. Right? Folkies in power, because I hope somehow that you hear this, you flip your phones out today and check this. What are you going to do to help? Because it's up to you now. Folks like me and all the rest of them and this group, No More Lost Souls, there's only so much we can do to push this campaign further forward. We are begging and screaming for help, and it is now in national newspapers that the mental health services of this country are failing the people they are meant to protect. Over to you. All governments, all parties, nationwide, give us answers, give us solutions, no more bullshit, just tell it like it is. We have a mental health crisis in this country, and we, the sufferers, and we, the people who are affected by the suffering that we have had enough. Help us, please, so that there will be a day there are no more lost souls. Sooner rather than later. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, all ages, everywhere, every human being, every precious soul with a heart beating inside it. Don't forget, you matter, you are special, you deserve to be on this planet, and you do not deserve treatment like this. You deserve the absolute very best. And whatever the hell No More Lost Souls can do, and other groups around, find them, support them, check in on them. We need help, guys. Please send your love to Margot Edwards. Keep her in your thoughts, keep everyone in your thoughts, keep everyone that we've lost in your thoughts. And please, somebody, please, put your best foot forward and help us. No more bullshitting. Help, please.